Hey there, internet friends. Trevor Starkey here with another episode of AC Saturday, where I sit down and talk about anime or comics. Continuing along from last week, I read a few more issues of Invincible, issues 5, 6, and 7 today. Last week, kind of the first four issues really, I think, told a nice little kind of introductory story. Here we kick off with issue 5, which is much more standalone in nature. Grayson basically gets tasked by his dad to go fight some guy who's coming into space while he's working on something with the Guardians of the Globe. So Invincible goes up, learns that he can hold his breath for long periods of time, not quite as long as the 2 weeks that his dad brags about, but he goes up there. This guy shows up, they start fighting, and basically, the guy is able to speak telepathically to Mark, and they kind of have a chat a little bit while they're fighting. So the humor really starts shining through, I think, in the series for me, especially in this kind of trio of issues. They're fighting back and forth, and the guy basically ultimately comes and says, like, "Man, you're weaker than your last champion," and you know, I can't. We find out that basically the guy is basically an inspector that goes around from planet to planet evaluating the champions of given worlds, and Mark's like, why would anybody sign up for that? Why is that a thing? And it turns out it's all a nice little miscommunication. The guy's been going to the wrong planet for the last 15 years, I think, is what he says. And so he's probably going to get screwed when his job evaluation comes up. The people at that planet are probably pissed off at him, so he kind of goes off, and Mark goes back home and has dinner with his family. He's like, "Yeah, that guy's not going to be back for a while. That guy's not going to be back. We talked it out, and turns out he was coming to the wrong planet." And the mom kind of makes fun of the fact that the son used brains over brawn to kind of solve this issue, and then we get a nice little kind of end tease about how Invincible's like, "Yeah, I did a good job today, and now I can finally go home and sleep." Nope, I've still got homework. So juggling kind of school responsibilities with being a superhero still in there. That comes more into play, I think, in the next issue, in issue 6, where basically he goes off to tour a college campus, and he agonizes over the fact that it's a 40-minute drive to get out there with William, his friend who they're going out and kind of touring the campus together, and it does that. Again, the humor really shines through here as somebody kind of comes in and Mark's like, "Oh no, get down!" And then he basically immediately comes back in as Invincible and saves the day, and they kind of even gloss over the fight and everything, and then he comes back in civilian clothes and he's like, "Oh my god, man, I went to go get help. Are you okay?" And William's like, "Dude, you have superpowers?" Because of course he's gonna realize that the guy who just showed up with superpowers looks exactly like his friend who just mysteriously disappeared. So it was a nice little kind of turning that trope on its head. And then we get even more of that in issue 7, where we get introduced to the Guardians of the Globe, which are just so increasingly tongue-in-cheek knockoffs of the Justice League that it's amazing. Great humor in there, and then that issue even ends with the big oh shit moment that I've had so far in reading these 7 issues, where the Guardians of the Globe basically get just torn apart, and the last guy, one of the superheroes, "Oh, I knew it was you. I never liked you," and gets torn to pieces, his head knocked off or whatever. And then the last panel is Grayson's dad, and it's the feeling's mutual or something like that. It's oh shit. Now I'm really confused and curious as to what's going on there. And apparently, it seems like it will be an obvious setup for father versus son, or something's going on, or It could be that like there's a doppelganger and something's going on where it's not really him, but we're led to believe it's him. So I'm excited to see kind of where we go from there. So yeah, overall this trio of issues, we kind of there were also little like side things peppered in there where Robot was like invited to be part of the Guardians of the Globe, and so the team was going to break up. And everybody was like super supportive of him. I have no idea where that's going though. And there was also like the end panel in issue 6 was Eve basically looking and seeing something that horrified her and screaming no, 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 no. And then we never kind of got a follow up to that. We got this issue 7 that was like Guardians of the Globe, and here's your Batman knockoff, and here's your the Green Lantern knockoff, who instead of having a ring basically has to like eat something that gives him his powers, and like Martian Manhunter, and yeah, just like the Wonder Woman, War Woman like parody and stuff. It's just great, kind of pitch perfect. Like everything's just a little bit off there, and so I was like, oh, I'm excited to see where this goes. And then they just all get like killed on a page, and it's like, oh damn, this is going to be one of those comics. Okay, cool. So really enjoying Invincible. Really enjoying just kind of the like. It's not Marvel or DC, but it is like superheroes, and it's an interesting new take and new world building of superheroes. So yeah, those are my thoughts on issues 5, 6, and 7. Looking forward to seeing where we go from here. Hopefully, I'll get back to that soon. So let me know what you think of Invincible in the comments below. As always, I've been your host, Trevor Starkey from TrevorTrove.com. You can follow me at SnarkyStarkey on Twitter. And until next time, from here at the Trove, treasure your friends.